They looking good, breaking records, you going viral for having a weird shaped ass, and you ain't dropped no music that's doing well in a long time, and now you're no longer the reigning queen of anything. That's now debatable.
But nah,
so she acting up. She don't know how to handle it. If you a queen sitting on the top of the world, bro, for 15 years with Lil Wayne and Drake, unopposed. That's like you running your hood for a decade, 15 years, and then a group of little young get the cracking, and you like,
but you
pay no homage.
Nicki Minaj just accused Jay-Z of owing her $200 million, called him a predator, and then stood on a White House stage holding Donald Trump's hand like a sworn ally. Everyone assumed this was just another rap feud until the document started leaking. Right now, insiders confirm she's not just fighting for money. She's exposing what she calls a karmic debt tied to Tidal's $297 million sale, a Super Bowl sabotage, and a Grammy ritual she claims is anything but entertainment. The receipts are brutal. A $1 million hush offer in 2021, a public meltdown in February this year, and a lawsuit threat that could unravel Roc Nation's entire contract empire. But here's the glitch. She's demanding justice for financial fraud, while her own family's record includes convictions no one's allowed to mention. The real question isn't whether Jay-Z responds.
That's how she feels. She feels like blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
Responds. It's who's pulling the strings behind her sudden flip from industry rebel to political weapon in the next leak. It's not about cash, it's about control. The moment Nicki Minaj had sent on that $200 million claim, the industry's facade cracked. Everyone thought this was about unpaid equity from Tidal's $297 million sale in 2021 music, until the text started circulating. Insiders say the real fight isn't over money, but over something far more dangerous: control. The official story goes like this. Jay-Z promised her 3% of Tidal, the streaming platform he launched with a star-studded lineup in 2015. When he sold it 6 years later, she claimed she was offered $1 million as a settlement, a fraction of what she was owed. But here's where it stops making sense. If this was just about a bad deal, why did she wait until July of 2024 to publicly demand $200 million? And why frame it as karmic debt instead of a simple breach of contract? Music, people close to the situation insist there's more to it. Something tied to the Super Bowl snub last September when Lil Wayne was passed over for the halftime show in his own hometown. That's when Nicki's posts took a music darker turn, accusing Jay-Z of using his Roc Nation influence to punish artists who crossed him. The timing is too precise to be coincidence. The Super Bowl decision wasn't just a business move. It was a declaration. New Orleans is Wayne's city, and denying him that stage sent a message. Nicki's reaction wasn't just anger. It was a calculated strike. Her tweet from September 2024 lays it out. Music, denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego. But the subtext is clearer now. This wasn't about Wayne. It was about her. The industry had already written her off, and Jay-Z's silence was the final confirmation. That's when the real war began. By October, she was threatening to cancel her entire album, blaming him directly. Hope you're happy now, Jay-Z. The move wasn't just a tantrum. It was music leverage, and it worked. The next month, she was standing at the United Nations with Trump's team, framing herself as a victim of the same media persecution they'd faced.
John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues.
Standing at the United Nations with Trump's team, framing herself as a victim of the same media persecution they'd faced. Music, the pivot wasn't random. It was survival. Here's where the story starts to bend. If this was really about $200 million, why bring Trump into it? The answer lies in the documents, or rather the lack of them. Sources say Nicki's legal team has been quietly gathering contracts, texts, and internal communications from Tidal's early days. But the real pressure isn't on Jay-Z. It's on the other artists who signed similar deals: Beyoncé. Music, yeah, Rihanna. If Nicki's case holds up, the floodgates open. That's why the industry's reaction has been so muted. No one's defending Jay-Z. They're waiting to see if the dominoes fall. And then there's the Grammy incident. The one that turned this from a feud into a full-blown crisis. Trevor Noah's joke at the Grammys wasn't just a dig. It was the match. When he quipped that Nicki was still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues, the audience music laughed. But the camera panned to Chrissy Teigen giving a thumbs up. And that's when Nicki's team knew the industry had chosen its side. Music, her response wasn't just a meltdown. It was a counterattack. The tweets that followed, calling the Grammys a ritual, accusing Jay-Z of predatory behavior, posting that photo of him with Aaliyah, weren't random outbursts. They were a distraction. While the world fixated on the drama, her legal team was finalizing the lawsuit. And that's when the first leaks started coming out. The documents...
So Nicki Minaj, F off, stop being a homophobic bigot, and, get a life and some brains.
Okay, we will.
The documents allegedly show more than just unpaid equity. They suggest a pattern. Artists signed to Tidal under the promise of creative control, only to have their shares diluted or erased when the sale happened. Nicki's 3%. It might have been worth $9 million on paper, but the real number, $200 million, implies something far bigger. That's not a miscalculation. Music, that's a claim that the entire deal was structured to screw over the artists. And if that's true, then Jay-Z's silence isn't confidence. It's damage control. The question isn't whether he'll respond, it's who else is named in those files. But here's the part no one's talking about. Nicki's brother is serving a life sentence for a violent offense. Her husband is a registered offender. And yet, music, she's the one calling out predators. The hypocrisy isn't lost on anyone, especially not the fans who've started burning her merch on camera. That's why the Trump alliance isn't just a political move. It's a lifeline. When the industry turned on her, she needed a new narrative. And Trump's team gave her one. The persecuted outsider fighting the corrupt establishment. The problem, the establishment she's fighting is the same one that made her. And the document she's sitting on could bring it all down. The lawsuit drops in 3 weeks. The industry is holding its breath, not because of what Nicki might say, but because of who else might be listening. And that's when the real fight starts. Because this was never about $200 million. It was about who gets to tell the truth. And right now, Nicki's the only one talking. The question is, how much is she willing to burn to stay that way? The next leak won't be about money. It'll be about survival. And the first name on the list isn't Jay-Z. It's hers. The lawsuit isn't just about $200 million.
But under no circumstances am I going to be quiet when you talking about him like that, Nicki Minaj. What the hell was that? What's that about?
About $200 million. It's about the pattern. And the pattern starts long before Tidal. Back in 2010, when Nicki was still fighting for respect in a male-dominated industry, Jay-Z was one of the few who gave her a platform. They performed together at Yankee Stadium, shared stages at the BET Awards, even posed for those iconic Tidal launch photos in 2015. But here's what people forget. Every major label passed on her first. Every crew in New York ignored her. She had to go to Cash Money in New Orleans to get her shot. That rejection never left her. And when the Tidal deal went sour, it wasn't just about the money. It was about the betrayal. The same man who once called her family was now treating her like a liability. That's not business. That's personal. And in music hip-hop, personal wars don't end with lawsuits. They end with careers. The Super Bowl snub wasn't an isolated incident. It was a repeat of the same playbook. When Kendrick Lamar got the halftime show instead of Lil Wayne, Nicki didn't just see a missed opportunity. She saw a message. New Orleans is Wayne's city. Music.
I thought that was fair commentary, but Nicki Minaj thought otherwise. Now, Lauren LaRosa, LL Cool J, read what she tweeted about the Breakfast Club.
She said, Charlamagne, did you put that bleaching cream on your too?
Did you?
She then tagged the President of the United States and asked him to lock us all up. Imagine if you called yourself Trump.
Music, denying him that stage was a power move. And the man pulling the strings, Jay-Z's Roc Nation. The same company that produces the Super Bowl halftime show. The same company that manages Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki's longtime rival. The same company that's been accused of blackballing artists who don't fall in line. That's not coincidence. That's control. And Nicki's reaction wasn't just anger. It was a warning. When she tweeted, "Music. Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne." She wasn't just calling out Jay-Z. She was naming the system. The question is, how many other artists have been punished the same way? The Grammys weren't the breaking point. They were the confirmation. When Trevor Noah made that joke about Nicki being at the White House with Trump, the audience laughed. But the real joke was on them. Because Nicki wasn't just skipping the Grammys, she was exposing them. Her tweets about rituals and satanic practices weren't the rants of a scorned artist. They were a direct challenge to an industry that's long been rumored to operate on more than just talent. And the silence from other artists, that's the most telling part. No one defended her. No one even acknowledged it. Because in hip-hop, you don't cross the powers that be. You play by the rules or you get erased. Nicki's not playing anymore. And that's why the backlash has been so brutal. The Trump alliance isn't a political statement. It's a survival tactic. When Nicki started speaking out about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, it wasn't just a cause. It was a lifeline. The mainstream media had turned on her. The industry had blacklisted her. And then Trump's team offered her a platform. Not just any platform. One that guaranteed attention, protection, and a built-in narrative of persecution. That's not a coincidence. That's strategy. And it worked. Within months, she was standing at the Treasury Department holding Trump's hand, calling her
because Rihanna knows that she was a superstar with or without controversy. She's beautiful with or without controversy.
Calling herself his #1 fan. The same woman who once called him a misogynist was now his most vocal supporter in hip-hop. The question isn't why she flipped, it's what she knew was coming. The hypocrisy isn't lost on anyone. Nicki's brother is serving a life sentence for a violent crime against a minor. Her husband is a registered offender. Music, and yet she's the one calling out predators. But here's the thing, she's not wrong about the industry. The difference is she's the only one saying it out loud. And that's why the backlash has been so vicious. Because if she's right, if the Grammys really are rigged, if Tidal really was a scam, if Jay-Z really does control who gets a career and who gets erased, then the entire system is built on a lie. And the people who benefit from that system, they're not going to let her take it down without a fight. The backlash isn't just coming from the industry. It's coming from the fans who once worshipped her. Barbs, the loyal army that built Nicki's empire, are now turning on her in droves. Merchandise is being burned in Instagram videos. Playlists are being purged. Music. Hashtags like Nicki is over party are trending every time she posts. The betrayal cuts deeper because it's not just about politics. It's about identity. Nicki's core fanbase has always been queer, black, and fiercely protective. Now music, they're watching her stand on stage with a president whose administration rolled back transgender rights, separated families at the border, and mocked the very communities that made her a star. Music, the cognitive dissonance is too much. And the worst part, she doesn't seem to care. When asked about the backlash at America Fest, her response was a smirk and a shrug. "I didn't notice." That's not defiance. That's detachment. And for fans who once saw her as a voice for the voiceless, it feels like a final betrayal. The financial fallout is just as brutal. Sponsors are pulling out. Music streaming numbers for her latest
Nicki Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant and she still got Jay-Z and Rock Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
streaming numbers for her latest singles have dropped by nearly 40% since the Trump alliance. Tour promoters are quietly distancing themselves, citing scheduling conflicts. Music. Even her longtime collaborators are going radio silent. The message is clear. Align with Trump in the industry will freeze you out. But here's the twist. Nicki's not just losing money, she's losing leverage. The same lawsuit that could have been a nuclear bomb against Roc Nation now looks like a desperate gamble. Because if the courts rule against her, she doesn't just lose the case. She loses her...
They just said I have to get in this van and go to the precinct with them. Where am I going?
She loses her last bargaining chip. And Jay-Z's team knows it. That's why they haven't settled. That's why they haven't even flinched. They're waiting for her to run out of options. What's more damning is the way she's handling the criticism. Instead of addressing the fan exodus, she's doubling down on culture war rhetoric. Her social media is now a mix of MAGA talking points, attacks on woke mobs, and cryptic posts about the elite's agenda. Music, it's not just a pivot, it's a reinvention, and it's backfiring spectacularly. The same fans who once defended her against Megan Thee Stallion are now calling her a sellout. The LGBTQ+ community that celebrated her as an icon is erasing her from its history. Even her fellow rappers are keeping their distance. When 50 Cent reposted her AI-generated Jay-Z memes, it wasn't solidarity. It was schadenfreude. He's not on her side. He's watching the car crash. And the worst part, she's giving them all the ammunition. The most telling sign of her isolation is who's not defending her. Where's